this pickup on this Charvel is very intense. I meant to answer a question from one of you guys. I created a video that was called Dynamic Palm Muting, which is all about the fact that I'm not using palm muting as an effect. I'm using it as a way of controlling the strings. Like on a piano, you have dampers on every string. And so whenever you just walk up to a piano, you say boom, then it's going to ring out for a while. But it's dampened already because we don't want it to go bang and then it just keeps ringing out, right? You can't play music with that. So you have to stop it a little bit. And the way to stop it from stopping it a little bit is to press that pedal for your right foot, right? Over here, because that lifts up the dampers. And so you have that ringing out sound, right? You can't play anything with that as well. You can't go, it just sounds awful, right? So you have to be able to have notes that ring out and notes that don't ring out, like ringing out, right? But then, right? Oh, in there, there's from one note to another. There's one that's muted, muted, and then not, and then not. Right, so I can play something like. And this technique is so cool that everybody uses it. Because the brains, whether they practiced it or not, if you play solos for a long time, then your brain is simply going to be, and you just practice palm muting, like say, for your rhythm guitar, then the brain gets, hey, that sounds cool, I can use that. And then it simply starts to apply it by itself over time. But you can speed up that process and start practicing it right now. The question that I got for that video was, does that apply for songs where the tabs say open strings, or is it solely for songs you make yourself? That applies for open strings. This is an open string. I'm just muting it a little bit, right? From this open to this to this. Right? So what you do to learn this is that you simply focus on it. You put on a jam track in the background, right? Right? And you become aware of that as a phrasing tool, like bending vibrato, like anything else, that you become conscious about what notes am I really muting and what notes am I not muting in any way, right? So that's basically the and then you put on a jam track that's not too loud because you want to be able to hear what you're doing. And the best way to start is to say, I'm going to play on two strings. I'm going to improvise on two strings. Doesn't matter what they are. You can start with the two middle and say the D string is now muted, but the G string is not. And the key to that is finding that sweet spot where you're holding your hand, where muting and not muting is just a slight detail, because it's like that, right? It's a little minute detail. And this is one of the ways, or things like with pinch harmonic, it's one of the ways that you have to experiment your way into, put on a jam track and then meditate on the muted, unmuted, slightly muted, very muted, and then slightly open, and then fully open, right? So. So have fun with it, and really, make it an exercise where you really focus on only that, only on the muting part.